What's going on, everybody? How is everybody feeling this Saturday? It is the Shop Podcast. Happy 4th of July. Hope everybody's staying safe. Be nice to each other. Wash your hands. Wear your mask. But I hope everybody's having a fantastic 4th of July. Now, this is not a traditional 4th of July for everybody, but once again, I hope everybody's having a good time. But we are back with another phenomenal show. It's been a big week, a lot going on, a lot of next gen talk. So we're going to dive right into that. But before we get into the topics, just want to say a quick shout out to everybody here in the chat watching us live right now. Appreciate you guys' support. Thank you for the consistency. You guys coming out supporting the show every single week. Subscribe if you have not already. Hit the like button as well. Appreciate that. So let's go ahead and just get started. Let my guest here, give a quick round. So let's start with you, Luke and Sip It. How you doing, brother? Appreciate you being on the show. I know things are a bit precarious right now over at the house with the fireworks, but appreciate you taking some time to get on, man. How you been?
I'm great, man. Thank you for having me on today. As always, I love the show, and I love being here and hanging out with you guys talking video games. I apologize if at any point you hear my dog or the fireworks through. My wife and I worked out a situation where hopefully we're okay. But I appreciate you guys having me on, and happy 4th to everybody that celebrates.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. You one of my favorites, man. I'm so glad I found you essentially as far as your content, because you're one of my favorites. I watch every week, man. But
mutual,
let's go
brother.
ahead.
Mutual.
I appreciate it, man. Let's go ahead and move on to our next guest. Now, this guy isn't really even a guest. He's been on the show a trillion times. Used to be a part of the show. Shout out to you, Pred H2. How you feeling, brother? What you been doing? How's everything going, man?
Used to be a part of the show, man. I'm always part of it.
You are.
Glad to be on, man. I had some free time this weekend since we're not doing next this weekend, and that's tomorrow. But yeah, man, anytime I can jump on, if I got some free time, I'll always hop on the show. Glad to be here. Not been gaming much lately. My daughter had a scoliosis surgery.
Oh wow, okay. How did that go? Everything okay?
Yeah, she's good now.
Good. Okay.
Just helping her get around, stuff like that. So kind of been absent from social media a bit and gaming in general. So I haven't really been doing much. So, but just doing podcasts lately. But I'm about to start getting back into the game a little bit more and more podcasts and branching out a little bit more and getting on some shows with some other people for a change. So happy to be here, man.
Awesome, man. Once again, super big part of the show. Part of the show's history, man. He helped me build this thing and where it's at now. So I always appreciate you like my brother, man. So thank you for taking some little time to come on, man. And my other two compadres here, Centurion, how you been, brother? What you been up to, man?
I've been doing good. Working way too much. Doing like over 50 plus hours a week right now. So I really haven't had much time to create the content that I want to, but hopefully that's going to change tomorrow.
Okay, cool. All right. Oh, okay. So is that it?
Yeah, pretty much. I haven't been able to play very many games at all. I've been able to tap into Elder Scrolls Online here and there, but yeah, it's weird, man. The 4th is a big time, at least in my industry, and it got, we had to kind of start working extra just to kind of hit it because there's not too many of us still at the job.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think a lot of us are in the same boat, to be honest with you. I haven't played a ton of video games either, to be honest. So I played yesterday a little bit. Me and Fuzz played, I think, a couple days prior to, but I haven't been playing a ton either. So last but not least, man. And as a matter of fact, before we get to Fuzz, shout out to Stag, man. Hope you feel better, brother. Stag, obviously you can see him in the comment section, but quick recovery, to you and your family. Hope everything is going well there. But last but not least, Fuzzy Belvedere, you don't need an intro, brother. Talk your shit, man. Go ahead.
What's up, everyone? Glad to be here. Glad to have Insipid on here. Glad to have Predator on here as well. Just been busy at work most of the week and got to squeeze some games in the meantime, but got a lot of topics to hit, so let's get it.
Let's get it. Let's dive right in. Once again, shout out to everybody in the chat watching us live. Retweet that link on Twitter. Let everybody know the Shop Podcast is live. Quick shout out as well. You can find us on bg4ghub.com/the Shop Podcast. Shout out to Tom and everybody at bg4ghub.com. It's a fucking great network. Awesome, good, very, very good people. So appreciate you. Shout out to Daz. Everybody in the comment section right now. So let's go ahead and just dive in, man. So as per usual, we start with the poll of the week, unless for some reason I don't actually get one up. But the poll of the week this week was, as a gamer, a lot of things can affect our gaming experience. If you could pick one issue to get rid of permanently, what would it be? And this is permanent. Like for the rest of the time you play video games, you never have this issue. One option was lag. One was bad AI NPCs. The other one was microtransactions and pay to win. And the other one was season passes. So it was actually pretty close to vote. Microtransactions actually won out 43%. Lag was 35%. Bad AI NPCs is 17, and season passes is 4%. So once again, chat, go ahead and let us know how you feel about the poll of the week in the chat right now. We're gonna start with you, Luke. So I was thinking about this question. I'm like, this is a dream if I could eliminate any one of these. Like I think I picked lag would have been mine. But where you at on this, man? Which one would you pick and why?
I'm right with you on getting rid of lag, and the reason largely is because microtransactions was the one that the audience picked as the one they would get rid of, and pay to win. Pay to win, I don't play those games because I don't want to pay to win. And microtransactions to me are really good at offsetting the cost of a game and allowing you to enter at a cheaper price pair, which ties into one of our later topics, I'm sure.
Are we defending
God.
Are you defending micro? I'm just playing. Go ahead.
Yeah, indeed I am. But hear me out and stick with me. The idea is, I bought Borderlands 3. I did not overly enjoy it. Wasn't really in on it. One of my best friends bought Borderlands 3, and he went in on the deluxe edition, got everything else. I got to have a Borderlands 3 experience for the standard base price. He paid more and had a more fulfilling experience for what he was interested in. And microtransactions have allowed us to have games at the same price, and if you adjust for inflation, cheaper prices for 2 generations. And so I recognize the value in that. And also the market decides when microtransactions aren't good enough. Battlefront 2 is a fantastic game now, but that thing was hot trash in the summer when it first came out. And there's that has to do with microtransactions and the market speaking back to the people that were making it. Fortnite seems to have nailed how to do that. So
True.
I'm not against microtransactions. I'm against predatory microtransactions, but I don't think there's a reason to get rid of them. I would get rid of lag, and that's an ongoing thing. That's what I would do there.
That would elevate my gaming experience to a new level if I didn't have to worry about lag. Man, I'd love it so much. I mean, there's so many times, especially with games nowadays coming out broken, not working right away more so. So that has always been an issue, especially with new games. But if I could eliminate lag, my gaming experience would probably be twice as good as it already is. So let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Craig, to get your opinion, man. Which of those options would you choose and why, brother?
All right, so I didn't see this poll, so I'm looking at it now, and my vote would have been season passes, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
And it wouldn't have made a difference because it was a 4.3%. So, and the reason why, because like lag, you can fix that. Like that's internet, right? That's
I don't know.
I mean, some net code and stuff like that too.
Yeah,
For the most part, it's like people have shit. If everyone had the same fucking internet, we'd be okay. But everybody doesn't have the same internet.
That's true.
So that's a fixable thing. You can kind of go to different servers and stuff and fix that kind of stuff. Bad NPCs, that's a developer thing. Like make shitty NPCs. Which I think was third. Yeah, it was. It was third. Microtransactions would have been my second pick. But that's a choice.
Yes,
you choose to buy that. Like you don't have to deal with that if you don't want to. Now, if you'd have put pay to win as a different category by itself, I probably would have picked that one. But I went with season passes because season passes now are the same price as the game. Like if you think about it, because the last two microtransactions and season passes are all tied to money. Like you have to buy that. And so like for me, microtransactions, when I break it down financially, like that's how I think, like I pay for microtransactions. I pay for season passes. A lot of the times you don't even know what you're getting in the season pass until they announce it. Like they'll tell you there's a season pass. You can pay for it in advance. Like you buy season pass the day you buy the game, but you have no idea what's coming at season pass or when it's coming. You know what I'm saying? It's like they may say, like, I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. Ghost Recon season pass. I'm still waiting on that shit. So,
no, I have the season pass, but you're also I also agree, like with Fallout 4. When you bought the season pass, one of the expansions actually wasn't an expansion. There was like 1/3 of the expansions that came out were all towards building your settlement. Like it was just like extra furniture and stuff. It wasn't even
it was like bullshit. Like you're like, oh, here's a new skin and a gun. Like you don't need to do that game, but you pay $50 for that. And the thing, a lot of times in the season pass is tied to getting things early. Like you might get the DLC early. You might get what is it? To play a new map early. And it's not worth it to me. So I would completely get rid of season and completely. I understand like financially how it helps, even the microtransactions, how Luke was saying earlier, like it helps them develop the game and helps pay people and stuff like that. But as a gamer, if I'm buying those sort of things, I kind of want to know, especially with season passes, what I'm getting out of it. Because a lot of the times what you pay for, you may not see because they push things back and delay things. You may not see it until later, but you've already paid for it. I'll give you the perfect example. Ghost Recon, I think the Division did it too. You pay for that season pass in advance. That season pass is good for the first year. You still got to pay for that shit again in the second.
Yeah, Destiny, same thing. Destiny is notorious for that as well. A lot of games. So okay, cool. So
Destiny's
that was
notorious for it. They've built their business model around it. Oh, it's time to re-up.
But people are in on it.
Go ahead, well, that's a great segue.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to jump in on that.
You good. You good.
I think it's funny because now I'm having that battle in my head once again. Do I want to buy the Destiny expansion just to play for 1 month? Anyways, because I don't have enough friends to play Destiny, so I just basically play the whole campaign, and then at that point, there's no grind. I have no friends to grind with. Anyways, but for me, it was NPCs purely because it really, for me, it drives me nuts when you have to rely on NPCs that don't always. Sometimes a game gets drawn out purely because your NPCs don't cooperate with you. At least that was what I picked because I'm on the same bandwagon with microtransactions. I don't like pay to win at all. I think that's probably why Battlefront 2 fell on its face when it first came out. I mean, I was one of the people that bought Battlefront 2 when it came out, and I knew it was going to be all downhill from there when the guy behind the counter asked if I wanted to buy a starter pack. So right there, I knew that there was a problem. But if you play Battlefront 2 now, that game's totally night and day.
I've heard.
But don't get me
absolutely, man. I love Battlefront 2 now.
Yeah, especially the oh my god, the cooperative part where you just fight the waves.
Yes, that's my favorite mode. Co-op mode.
Me and my buddies can sit there and do that for hours. At least when we do get a chance to play games, we'll sit there and do that for hours.
Do you do what we do, where you go in and you argue about The Last Jedi and the prequels forever? Because that's what we do.
No, we don't. We don't do that. Thank God. Actually, the funny part is one person we play with, I don't even think has seen all the Star Wars. Right. But anyways, for me, it's always NPCs though. Because like there is games where you need to have an NPC have your back. If you didn't have anybody to play with, Ghost Recon Wildlands. Also, like back in the day on the Xbox 360, Army of Two, there's situations where you need your NPCs to be able to kind of cooperate with you, and you kind of hate it when they get hung up on something or can't make it through a door, just stuff like that. That was my vote.
Okay, cool. And I agree with you in that case. I've had instances where something was supposed to happen, like a trigger, you're supposed to save somebody or do something, or NPC is supposed to do something, didn't happen, completely ruined the game experience. Turned the console off or just switched over to another game, play something different. So I do agree in that particular case as well. But last but not least, let's go ahead and get your opinion, Fuzz. Where you at on this, man? Which ones you picking? Why, brother?
I also voted for do away with bad NPCs because all the other stuff is kind of like you have some control over it type of thing. Like the devs are the only ones that really have the control on the AI. And remember all those times we played the Division where like a boss or any of the NPCs
stuck inside the door.
Yeah, they're trapped behind a door, stuck in a room. You can't advance, and it's like the best you could do is either off yourself or just shut it down and reset. So
actually, I just popped in my head. I remember it happened in Assassin's Creed. No matter which one you played, all the damn time, you had to follow someone, and you'd be following them, and then they'd stop and pause like they were thinking about it, and then they just all of a sudden go a completely different direction because they were leading you the wrong way, and it had to be corrected.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Go ahead, Fuss.
No, but with lag, I kind of agree with Predator. It's somewhat dependent on your internet, and I'm paying for gigabit up and down. Although you don't quite get that at the console, even with it being wired, but still, I mean, unless they're doing like Ubisoft with peer-to-peer, usually like Predator said, you could just train servers or something along those lines type of deal. As far as the season passes, I do wish that would go away, especially considering another topic coming up. But it's just you don't have to buy it. I mean, unless you want the quote unquote full experience, but that full experience once again, you don't know what you're getting. Anthem was kind of that deal where they had that whole road map that just went out the window. So
Here we go
that
again.
was
Had to get it out of the way early.
Shout out to Stagger.
Yeah.
Stagger, I also like Anthem. Don't you worry, brother.
Hey,
I'm
we
right here
all
with
do,
you.
bro. I mean,
I like Anthem as well. It's just
I haven't
too
met
much.
anybody that has it. I have never met anybody that was like Anthem is trash.
I
They were
had-
like, I loved
definitely
Anthem,
had-
but there's
Just
some
go ahead and tweet that you like it and see what happens. Because oh man, my mentions have hurt me. Ooh, they found out about my mom. They told me they made jokes about me and my family. It was crazy.
That's funny. Go ahead, Fuzz.
No, but as far as microtransactions, unfortunately, I don't think we're ever going to get rid of those. But once again, that's a decision between you and your wallet type of deal. If you want to pay for the skin or the shortcut or whatever, by all means, have at it. I know I've been guilty on some stuff, but it is what it is. But NPCs, especially with this next generation, the power in the consoles and things like that, hopefully that we get a little bit better AI programming from a lot of these devs going forward.
Okay, cool, awesome. So great warm up topic, man. Once again, chat. When we ask these questions, go ahead and let us know in the chat how you guys feel about what we're talking about as well. But yeah, I agree, man. None of those are really that great, to be honest. So that's what made the topic fun. But let's go ahead and move on to the next topic, man. Keep this thing moving. So we're talking about something that we've all been anticipating for the last probably since the year began. And that's going to be the Xbox Summer-Long Game Fest. Now, that's not the single event we've been anticipating. They did announce that there's going to be a week-long event, I think, between like the 21st and like the end of the week, the 27th. They're going to show like 60 playable demos. We assume at some point one of them days is going to be the first-party event, whether it be the first day or one of the other days during the week. So just want to get everybody's temperature, see where you guys are at on this. Now that we got the information, we do not have an exact date on that first party show, but we assume, I think it's safe to assume, it's probably going to be sometime during that week. So, all right, Luke, where you at on this, brother? You excited about it? Which is your impressions on that 60 playable demos and just the whole week-long event?
It is more curiosity than excitement, for sure. But it's not in any tepid or bad way. We've had such a strange summer. In the video game space alone. You could look at the real world and have a whole different conversation, but in the game space alone, COVID has moved us to where we had so many digital events across such an amount of time that it's been very difficult to keep track of what's happening when, who's going here, what day is Christmas for gamers in July, I don't know. And so it sounds like July is dedicated to Xbox, or rather the latter half of it will be, and this is going to be kind of that first foray into it. I love the idea. This is something that I've been to E3 once, and we got to play a bunch of those games, and that is the best part of it. If they're able to tap into this and it works and works well, I think this is what Keeley was going for when he was trying this last year. This is a great idea. It's good stuff. It's a matter of if they can pull it off. And if they do pull it off, they've got that goodwill jiving with the announcement of whatever launch slate they've got for Series X. They've got the showcase events, then theoretically the Lockhart reveal in August. So they've got a good lineup. If this kicks off their news cycle, I'm all in on that.
Okay, cool. And I think that's a great breakdown, because I do want to throw something else at you, kind of a piggyback off of that particular topic. So where you at? Are we getting price at this event? Sometime
No.
No, you
No.
don't.
You are not getting price, and it would not be a good idea to do price at this point. This one needs to be all about the games, similar to what PlayStation did, where they had a slate of games, and they did a bad job messaging what was PS5, what wasn't, but it was just games. They didn't talk about price. They didn't talk about date. There's no need to do that. Instead, let games dominate the conversation, generate excitement, and you can play chicken with pricing and release dates and manufacturing and whatnot to narrow that down closer to. August can be that event when you show the Lockhart and you show why it's valuable to have Lockhart versus the PS5, why it's valuable to buy a Series X versus Lockhart, why Lockhart is not bad. Pricing and timing all come in August. Those are logistics. They need people to be excited. When we saw Miles Morales, how many gamers were like, yep, I'm getting a PS5. You didn't know price. You didn't know date. You were said, I want to play as Miles Morales. They need a moment like that with whatever their slate is, because Halo Infinite is theoretically that, but smart delivery does change their conversation just a bit. So price comes later. There's your long-winded answer.
Okay, no. I was just curious because I think we're all, like you said, it has to do with just the fact that our internal gaming clocks have been completely thrown off. That cycle that we usually get, like you said, of information is not happening this year. We're just getting it whenever we get it. So some of us are a bit impatient. So I think a lot of us are anticipating that's when we're doing it. But from a logistics standpoint, on top of the fact that people have been saying Sony's has another event in August as well. So like you said, playing chicken with the prices, I would assume, like you said, if the show goes well, which I fully anticipate it being a good show, I think that will give them enough leverage to hold off on price. I don't think anybody's going to be pissed off, so to speak, if they don't give a price after seeing all the phenomenal games and capabilities of the Series X and whatever else they're going to show. So let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Fred. Where you at on this, brother? Once you heard the news, I know you've been, back and forth, about what Xbox needs to do. I know you've been very vocal. You always like that you're a consumer. You make sure everybody know that you paid your money for this console and you got expectations. So just curious to see where you at on this, brother.
So I'm happy they're doing this show. It's like 60 games though. Like, wow. Like, how are we gonna play those games? Like,
I don't know.
Is it gonna be like, I don't know, like demos they're gonna put on Xbox
Live?
Yeah, like and the funny thing is, like when they talked about when everything shut down, I suggested something like this, and again, I know they listen to me, but
you don't know. You'd be surprised.
I was like, man, we should do like, it would be awesome if we did like an event using back then it was Mixer, and saying use Mixer to play these games, let people check out these demos and stuff like that during the show. But I mean, I don't think they listen to me, but like if you can play the games, that gives you the experience of E3 that most people don't get because not everybody can go there. So if that happens that way, that would be freaking awesome because like everybody doesn't get to sit there and stand in line and talk to people who make the games and stuff like that and pick and choose what game. Like you can do it from your home, so that would be awesome. The week-long thing, that one concerns me because like we're so used to getting all this stuff shotgun in like a 2-hour show. And I don't know how they're gonna do that, and how, I mean, if they're talking about 60 playable games, that they could spread out over 4 or 5 days. But the show is gonna be made by what Microsoft does for their first party, and that's what they're gonna be judged by. Let's be real. And so, what day is that gonna be? Is that gonna be day one? Is that gonna be day two? Is that gonna be?
So if we're looking at this from an E3 standpoint, I know that event's not happening obviously, but I don't know because it's similar. Because remember, E3 there's a show at the end or beginning of the week, and then they got another 3 or 4 days to show off demos, other smaller games. So it's kind of similar to a standard E3. If they do like a 2-hour show or an hour and a half first party event, then after that you get your inside Xbox and then the rest of the stuff throughout the week. That's very similar to how the E3 format anyway.
Well, when you start thinking about it, like I think maybe they altered their show last minute. Because keep in mind there were talks about them doing something in June. Sure. And I think maybe the thing outside the box here, maybe they pushed it back, and decided to consolidate it into 1 week instead of just a June show for a couple of hours and a July show for a couple of hours. As time went on throughout this whole crisis, people had to have places to show their games. Like, like everybody's not going to do their own show, especially indie people. And they didn't know because Sony was really quiet about what they were going to do with their show. And they made it seem like it's going to be all first party. So Microsoft is really the only place people can show games. And so maybe that's why we're getting these 60 playable games over a week long. Like
you're talking about third parties or just
third party? Third party. I mean, like you had, what was that? Cyberpunk. They came out and did their little show, but they're a huge developer, right? Yeah. Like these little smaller guys, the people who feed off of E3, they need that exposure. They're not getting that opportunity this year, so they have to have that place to show their games at some place. Even they're most likely going to be multi-plat. So this is a perfect stage for them, and maybe that's why this show is a week long to give those people a chance to kind of show what they have under. At least a system, whether it's PC, Xbox. I mean, also again, multi-plat, so it doesn't matter where they're going to be shown at, but they got to have a stage to put that stuff on. So And I know the first show from Microsoft was kind of lackluster. But it was kind of focused on third party.
Third party, yeah.
I think they kind of had to alter it a little bit, and I think Microsoft has a lot to show, but I also think that a lot of people have other things to show too, and they don't want to put the money and the time into organizing some live event. You know, I mean, they could easily just tweet it out, but if someone's gonna give them the platform, I think they're gonna use it. And this is a perfect example of that. Like, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I think my biggest question, and I'm getting fanboyish here now, was like, okay, what are we gonna see? And this whole checker and chess game we're playing with Sony. When are we gonna start getting prices?
I think that's everybody. That's a big question. That's the elephant in the room at this point.
They got. You think about what they got to show. They got to show the console again. They're talking about another console, which we haven't seen before, because now they're counteracting to what Sony just did. So they got to show their second console. So that's going to take a day. They're going to talk about that. Then they got to talk about the game's going to run on it. So that's going to take another day. And maybe deep dive into specs, deep dive into some of the games. I'm like, it seems like they have a lot to show. And it's going to be an interesting week, and Twitter's going to be blowing up. I'm pretty sure.
It's going to be bullets in the streets on Twitter. I'm trying to tell you, bro. And it doesn't matter what we see, honestly, because people are going to be going crazy either way. But I agree with the breakdown synopsis. Obviously, price, I think that's, like I said, the elephant in the room for everybody. We all want to know, okay, when are we going to be able to pre-order? That's one.
Yeah.
Two, how much are these things going to cost? So hopefully we do get some information. I anticipate at some point in July.
You know what's interesting about that price is I would imagine they looked at the American and global economies after COVID, and they probably adjusted their initial thoughts looking at unemployment rates and how many people have revenue to spend. I would bet that is a conversation that factored in their boardrooms. All right, we can launch at this price. And then when this hit, I wonder if they didn't reevaluate how they were going to approach the announcements and the financing of that. Because if people don't have it, people won't spend it on a mass scale. Some would.
True.
My take on that, though, is that you know how you control that, though? You control how much you put out.
Oh, you mean the amount of consoles?
Yeah. So if you only have just a shits and giggles number, you only put out 1,000 consoles out. This I'm using that as like a small number, just so we can say with little numbers. Right. I work better with that way. You have 1,000 consoles out there, but yet the demand is like 5,000. That 1,000 is gonna go, and then
the Blue Ocean strategy from Nintendo. Isn't that what they called it?
Yeah. Sony did it, and they're both going to do it this year. So, especially with everything going on, just getting stuff out is going to be a little hard. But those thousands are going to sell, right? And so then they just trickle out another 1,000, and they trickle out another 1,000. So, like, I think that part is going to be the issue. I think the supply and demand is going to be a bigger problem. So that's going to. I think if you can find a console and you really want one bad enough, get it. Because if you don't, what's going to happen is you'll find that shit on eBay for
Lord have mercy,
$9,000.
Yeah, and that highlights the value of the all digital PS5, and then whatever the Xbox
Lockhart
response to that is with Lockhart. Yeah,
good point. Okay, so let's go ahead and throw this over to Centurion, man. Great start to the topic, man. A lot of fine, minute details about this, man. And I think people are thinking about right now. So Centurion, where you at on this, man? When you heard the news, where you at, man?
Oh man, I'm excited. I've been kind of listening to everybody, taking it all in. I know we're probably going to have a lot of dedication towards Microsoft and their first-party studios over the course of these few days. But we also can't forget that there is some third-party publishers that sometimes have worked with Microsoft in the past, and you never know, you might see them pop up too. Like, we haven't really heard much of anything out of Bethesda when it comes to what they're coming up with for next gen. So I know we're getting towards the end of this whole Summer Game Fest thing with Microsoft and their week-long event, which is going to be towards the end of the month. So definitely it'd be a good time for them to get some eyes on what they're trying to cook up for next gen. I'm excited though. Is this better than E3?
That remains to be seen. I don't know if
that's where I'm kind of like on it. I'm like kind of like, maybe. I think it's, for me, I think the best part of this is when I heard that there's going to be a lot of games to demo. Normally it's hey, everybody gather around the television with some popcorn and watch E3 for a couple hours and it's done. Now this seems more interactive to me. There's actually games to try out. I think that's really cool and I'm excited for that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think everybody's excited for that. I mean, that's the big thing. What are we getting?
What are we getting? Before this event comes out, I did put some money aside. I'm going to be taking out stock in microscopes and magnifying glasses because these games are going to be analyzed very stringently. I mean, they're going to be like, I saw some pixelation in the grass right there. Your developers aren't doing everything they can.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, like, I'm just saying, I feel like some of these demos are going to be graded on a curve. Just saying.
Real talk, though, is anybody like concerned about the production value? Because Microsoft shows have been kind of like.
I know what he means. I know what he means.
Now they got a whole week of him.
So I am concerned about that. I thought they did a really good job in May. My timeline is all messed up. They had like a March one that was really, really weak. Like it just did not look good. And then they had a May one, I think, and the May one was a significant improvement. However, then it was EA and Sony that came out with really high production values. And the tongue-in-cheek response of Microsoft was, "Yeah, we're not going to let Greenberg back on without a good camera." And their production value does need to be higher. And real talk, I'm glad that if you're to find a silver lining, rather, because of COVID, they're probably not going to have a live show. The Inside Xboxes that are live are very hit or miss. And so this is hopefully a pre-recorded, well-produced thing. You make a very good point there.
Yeah. So I don't know if you were done with your points, and Turan, if you wanted to finish it off.
No, I was done. I'm just kind of hoping this event really kind of satisfies a lot of people. I just really kind of, like you said, there's going to be bullets whizzing around on the Twitter streets, and sometimes I just kind of like shake my head. Why does it have to be that way? Let's just get excited for the fact that we're going to have new games to try out. We're going to see new games that are coming, and we're going to start seeing this whole little next generation console ramp up really take off, because regardless if they put out price during this event or they talk about the Lockhart, I really like Ghost's idea on basically dedicating it all towards games. And that's what it sounds like it's going to be. And that the Lockhart is probably going to be released in August, because we've all heard little underground back alley rumblings about how there's going to be an August event for Lockhart. And I really do think that would kind of kick it all off on, you could go pre-order on it, at the end of, because that's when pre-orders for the X went up, was at the end of August. So that'd be a good time to just say pre-orders will be at the end of August. And good luck on getting one, sadly.
Yeah, so we'll see. And the funny thing about all of this, and I know we mentioned the Twitter streets and all the stuff that goes on Twitter. I had an epiphany the other day. I was on Twitter and I realized I don't care as much as I thought I did about all the little bullshit that goes on with gaming, just everything on Twitter. I don't care as much as I thought I did. So but yeah, I'm gonna be excited either way. We get new information, new stuff. I'm always excited to see it. I'm not gonna be fine-tooth combing.
If you mind, I want to say, because what you said, you don't really find yourself excited. I love reading about gaming, and I get most of my gaming info from Google. I stay off Twitter most of the time because, dude, you could be like reading something, and then there's comments in the comment section that have absolutely nothing to do with kind of like what you're reading, and it drags you down. So it just kind of makes it to where you don't want Twitter to be your first source of information. You kind of get it from other places.
Yeah, got it. Okay. So let's go ahead and roll this over to you, Fuzz. Just where you at on this, man? When you heard the news, me and you play games a lot together, so we talk about these things off camera. But where you at on this, man? When you heard about it?
Well, touching back to a episode that we did a few shows ago, when we were talking about how E3 could possibly improve for the future. And I think we even talked about playable demos type of thing for the masses, especially if we're going to do like a digital only type of deal. So I'm hoping this all works out as far as the logistics of getting this to work either through Game Pass or maybe xCloud launches or whatever the case is. And on top of that, anybody else have a inkling thinking that maybe Halo Infinite might be a playable demo that week too? I don't know.
I mean,
I'm
Luke,
hoping, but I don't
wanna
want to get
that?
too excited just yet.
Oh gosh.
Everybody's been kind of
That's so really
clamoring that they want the beta to come out. I guess that there hasn't even been a multiplayer beta, so you never know. That'd be a good time to do that too.
Yeah,
if it's good, it won't matter. They
Yeah.
need a good beta. Ooh.
I think if they that might be one of those mic drop things where it's like, oh, download the demo now type of deal. But you know, that's just a dream for right now. But overall, that whole week of 60 playable demos, I'm hoping the word playable means that we're going to be able to play all 60 of those, and not just that they're going to have somebody with a controller in front of the screen type of thing. But that in itself is going to be cool, that we'll be able to see, since I think a lot of them were unannounced games or something that we haven't heard about in a while. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. As far as the rumors for when they the first party studio day will be, I know a lot of people have been saying like either the 23rd or something like that, 21st or 23rd or something. But whatever day it is, it needs to. They need to knock it out of the park type of deal. And not that they won't or anything like that, but I know, just like kind of like when Centurion was saying, a lot of people want to be scrutinizing it with,
fine-tooth combs and
magnifying glasses and whatnot. But I think as long as we get to see a few of the expected basics, so we're going to see Infinite, we're going to see hopefully Motorsport 8 or whatever they might transition the name into being, because I know there's been a few rumors floated that it might be a almost like a mixture of Motorsport and Horizon, where you're driving to the track as well, type of thing, which could be interesting. But hopefully Fable or whatever Playground's working on. Although I still think I know it's a little late on the rumor mill, but I still think if it's not Fable, it might be something in the vein of Fable, kind of. But they have a lot of studios that they've acquired that haven't released anything lately, so it'll be nice to see what the ones that did what Compulsion, what they're working on. And we already know Ninja Theory's got like at least 2 games. I know they got Hellblade 2, and then they got
Project Mara.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that we get to see at least one surprise from each one of their studios, or at least average it out to that. And that, I think that'll make for a tremendous week for Xbox. And then it'll be in Sony's court to, wow us some more. But I don't think we're going to see anything about the Lockhart. I don't think we'll see anything or hear anything about price. That's still going to be the game of chicken going into next month. I think this week is just basically going to be a whole bunch of third party, some more indies, and then a whole day dedicated to their first party and probably their big market deals that they have with, like, Assassin's Creed and things like that type of deal. But
okay,
looking forward to it. That's trying not to get too excited, because then anticipation kind of kills things if it's not met. Like there's been so many E3 shows I've been waiting for Splinter Cell, so maybe we'll get what is it? The Dark, what is it? Not Joanna Dark. What the heck is it?
Oh, Perfect Dark?
Perfect Dark or something like that. Maybe that'll be our fill for Splinter Cell until then. But I can't wait. The end of this month can't come fast enough.
Awesome.
Can I add on?
Go ahead. Yeah.
If you don't mind.
Yeah.
Let me just ask. What would, because I like how Predator was asking, like, exactly how is this event gonna work? How do you stretch out what Microsoft does over a course of 5 days, pretty much? And that's where, like, I know everybody thinks that there's gonna probably be one great big show. There is gonna be one great big show, but one thought that I did have was I don't see Halo being part of the big show. I see Halo having probably its own little 1 hour deal that comes out probably on one of these days, because we're not only showing off Halo Infinite, we're showing off the new game engine that was crafted for this. And, we all saw how a game engine totally changed the dynamic of things for PlayStation. Microsoft definitely probably took some notes from that and was like, well, we're going to show off our demo too. And I'm really curious. And they're going to be, this whole probably 1 hour event for Halo will be revolve all around Halo and this game engine. And any of you have a problem with that?
Nah,
No.
not at all.
I think Halo needs to headline the show.
Well, that's the thing. Well, headline it, but that's where. Do you want Halo to be what happens if by some chance everybody's hyped for Halo and something foreshadows Halo out of the show? But what if you gave Halo its own show for one day?
I mean, I recognize the value in that, but I don't think you do that before the main event. If they have hey, here's Halo Infinite, big stuff, get people hyped. It's a God of War reimagining style level, and then say, and if you'd like to hear more on Halo Infinite, tune in tomorrow at 10 a.m. That'd be the way to do it in my mind, because the Halo Infinite is going to sell Xboxes. Well, Perfect Dark is not. It's not.
Now it actually dawned on me looking at the screen, because Stagger just brought it up. Mm-hmm. People are literally ready to burn down a village for Fable. Yeah. And I mean, like, would you want to put Fable anywhere near Halo?
Yes.
So it's not a bad thing if you have something to show, and it's like you said, and it's not gonna hurt Halo in any way. I mean, it's only gonna.
No, I don't want to say that, but you can kind of see where you'd have to kind of like, if you think about it, this whole 1 week event is a whole bunch of chess pieces, and you're trying to figure out the right order to put them in, so that way one doesn't exactly overshadow the other, and the ones you want to stand out.
I'm with you. I really do see your logic. I just don't agree with not bringing your big guns to the big stage, because everyone will tune into that event. That's what USA Today is going to write about. With the people listening to this show, us on the panel, we're going to tune in and find out about the extra stuff. But the casuals, that won't happen as much.
Yeah,
so
they're going to show Halo. They've already started marketing for it.
Absolutely.
They're definitely going to. So I don't even think that needs to be a thing. So, all right, cool. So I think, did I get everybody? Just want to make sure, Fuzz. I got you already. Okay, cool. Just want to make sure. So let's go ahead and move on. This topic is something that recently came up as well, and this is a huge one because this is something that, as gamers, we've always had it in the back of our head. Sorry, if this was actually going to happen or not. At what point in time were they going to bump the prices up on games, $5, $10, from $59.99 to $69.99? So if this is a thing, this is, like I said, it directly, impacts our wallet. Where are you guys on this? I mean, obviously these games are larger. We're asking for more out of these games. We're asking for more out of these consoles. So where are you at on that? And I want to get this to you first and sip it. As a consumer, is this something that you've been anticipating, or where are you at?
Anticipating is not the right word. It does not surprise me. But I'm also kind of like, that sucks. One of the things, and to my earlier point of microtransactions, I liked the idea that microtransactions were offsetting costs because they were an optional buy-in. And an optional buy-in means if I don't jive with the game, if it's not clicking with me, if it's not my jam, I don't need to spend beyond what it cost me. If I love Arkham Knight. I played a lot more of Arkham Knight than many people because I bought the DLCs and the story stuff and the challenge pack. I bought into that stuff, and that was optional for me to buy into. But did I get $70 or $100 worth of gameplay out of it? I did when I played God of War, and I only paid $60. I got $100 worth of gameplay out of Witcher 3. I got $100 worth out of Arkham, and I paid, $80 with the season pass. So game prices going up is not surprising. I do lament the idea that if they're going up, I mean, we know full well microtransaction season passes and the other ways that they've offset in this past generation, those aren't going to go away. So that's the part that I'm like, but it also highlights the need and the value of subscription services. Game Pass right now is unmatched. PS Now is coming into its own. Props to them. It seems like Games with Gold is on its way out to the back end for Game Pass, but that is why these subscription services are what they are. And Microsoft seems to be doing its customers right early on in the gen. We'll see how long it lasts, but with Game Pass Ultimate, and xCloud integration, it seems like subscription services are going to pave the way for budget gamers, or people that maybe don't have the extra funds to buy a game that's not on sale new every time.
Yeah. So, and it's funny because this was really great anticipation on Xbox's part with this Game Pass thing. Like, you look back on it, that was a fucking genius idea. Whoever thought of that idea was genius because it immediately gets rid of the conversation, especially that would be surrounding this particular topic. Okay, well, why are these games being more expensive? Can you justify that? This gives Xbox a platform to stand on and say, look, we already thought about this ahead of time. Here you
and
go.
Consider also smart delivery also negates that.
Yep.
If you're buying NBA 2K21 on your Xbox One X, you got to pay $10 more if you want to upgrade to Series X. That's a bad look for 2K. That's a bad look.
Horrible.
But smart delivery is built into the conversation. Well, Xbox is treating their fans right. The problem now, they need to message that to the masses, again, to the USA Todays and stuff. I talked a lot. Go for it. Take over.
You're good. You're good. Now you're good. So let's go ahead and roll this over to you, Pred. See where you're at on this game being more expensive next gen. Is it something you anticipated, or where you at on this, brother?
We were kind of overdue for this, to be honest with you. I mean,
yeah, I would agree.
And I asked this question earlier. It's like, would you rather pay an extra $10 for a game, or would you rather get rid of what is it called? What's that feature where you can buy the game and game share?
Oh yeah.
Right. Because if you think about it, and I got this idea from Rand because he was on his podcast the other day. Like I game share, right? So if I buy a game, let's say me and you game share PTK, right? So if I buy a game for both of us, it's basically saving you from spending $60 on that game, right?
Yeah.
And then when you buy a game, you're saving me from spending. So basically, we spent $30 over for 2 games, basically, each out of our own pocket. So, like I'd rather do that than to spend. I'd rather spend an extra $10 for those games than to get rid of game share completely. And that's essentially what, if you think about the money they lose off of game sharing, if they just charge us everybody that $60, like that's
oh dude.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
I'd rather spend the $10. To be honest with you. It's like I said, we're overdue. We're overdue for that in the beginning. I mean, it's like the amount of money they're spending making these games. Now, I will say this though, not every game needs to be $70, right?
Yeah, you're right.
And if they're going to give us that standard, then we deserve to have that game come out and not be broken.
Speak. Say that.
Like if you're gonna charge us that amount of money, that shit needs to work. Like I can't go through I use Anthem because someone mentioned that earlier as an example. Like where I can't get into a server or or like the game doesn't load, or like there's glitches and glitches are gonna happen. I get that, but like I'm talking like game breaking bugs. Like that shouldn't happen if you're gonna charge me, a fucking phone bill, for a game. So and like simple things like that. Like I think they need to be more transparent with where games are gonna go. Don't give me this game's gonna come out on this console and then I found out a year later it's coming out on my console, my other console. Tell me where it's coming and when it's coming. Like tell me what DLC is coming with it when I spend that $70. Like if you're gonna charge me microtransactions or some of the other crap that you were talking about earlier, DLC and stuff like that. Like tell me what that DLC is going to encompass in the beginning. Don't tell me after I spent $70 on the game that DLC is coming and you don't know what it is yet. We'll tell you later. More to come, more to follow, like they typically do. Like I need to know what I'm buying now and what I should be anticipating later. Because they don't do that. No companies really do that now. They just tell you it's coming.
Question for you, Pred.
Yeah.
Question for you. Is it our fault as consumers for still buying it?
Yes.
Okay. and I'm thinking, I'm straight up pre-ordering Rebel, Star Wars Squadrons and whatever Batman version there is. I'm getting the Legendary, and same with Halo. I'm already pre-sold, but like if it sucks or we have another Ghost Recon problem or an Anthem problem, that's on me. At least I think it is, and
the history though. But the fact we say that because Ubisoft has always had a problem with their launches.
Yeah,
they suck in the beginning. They get better as you play it longer it goes. Like the other part of that too is why am I paying the same for a digital? Why am I paying $70 for a digital game when you're not paying that cost to deliver the game, to package it, et cetera, et cetera? Those games should be cheaper to me. Those games should be $59.99.
There's also no third party markup.
Yep. all that. Like, I mean, why am I paying an extra $10 for that? And that shit should have been cheaper in the beginning, but we didn't advocate for that in the beginning. We just took it.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of hard for them to give it back to us because like they're gonna mark the price up. I mean, it's like I said, it was overdue for the amount of money. Some of these games are like like a Red Dead 2
got Avenger budgets.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, they're making their money back off of it, but not every game is doing that, and not every game deserves a $60 or $70 price tag.
Yeah, and
we weren't getting that before. Like Recore was $30, Ori was $30. Like those games were worth $30, but were they worth 70?
Ori, you can make a case for Recore aptly priced.
Ori 1 or Ori 2?
Ori 2,
Cuphead,
man,
like,
one of the best games ever made.
I loved Ori. I'm using that example because it wasn't priced. It wasn't priced as a $60 game. It was priced, I think, as a $40, maybe $40 game.
And even State of Decay launched at a discounted price, I believe. And what was the one that recently came out from the Halo creator? Disintegration, Marcus Leto's game, came out at 50.
How much was Sea of Thieves?
Man-Eater came out at 40. Sea of Thieves was 60.
Yeah.
No, Sea of Thieves I bought day one physical. It was $59.99.
And Sea of Thieves now
is
absolutely worth it. It's
now it's worth it.
But
now
did you have to pay
for
DLC for that though?
No,
they haven't charged for any DLC. They just started actually adding microtransactions. I believe it was this year.
Cosmetic only. We might.
Yeah, it's only cosmetic only, but still, they added microtransactions. Like, oh my god, they're greedy. But no, they just added them this year, and it's total cosmetics.
Good. Yeah, and I'm gonna piggyback on what PTK said a minute ago. Like, Game Pass. Right? I mean, like, I haven't bought, other than Ori, which I bought the collector's edition of. I've not paid for a Xbox game, exclusive game, since Game Pass. Like, I haven't paid for that. Like, everything comes in Game Pass for me. Like, I refuse to buy a game if it's going to come out on Game Pass. If it's going to be free, basically.
It's such a good
part of my service. Yeah.
No brainer.
So, and so hopefully this, this $60, this $10 raise they're taking out of our pockets kind of translates over to Game Pass a little bit more, and maybe more companies will put more games into Game Pass. Maybe not even day to day. Maybe it's a week, a month later. I mean, like, that saves us money, but I love the service of Game Pass. It's like, it's for people who don't want to spend $70 in the game. You spend that same $70, you're getting like 150, 200 games. Easily. Yeah. So I'd rather go that route, and maybe more companies will kind of jump into that bandwagon and put their games in Game Pass day and date instead of making us pay $70 for them right out the gate.
Okay. Cool. All right. So good breakdown, man. Let's go ahead and throw this over to Centurion. Get your opinion on where you're at, man, with prices of these games maybe going up next generation.
Well, I am with everybody else, at least, that who didn't not see this coming. And I like how Predator actually said we're overdue for it, because it's really crazy to actually see an industry that has been kind of resisting inflation for so long as the gaming industry. Because, God, we all know inflation affects everything, but somehow the gaming industry has found ways to slow that process down with microtransactions and DLC. And here we are now finally getting ready to raise the price of basic gaming, but now you do have services like Game Pass, PS Now to help kind of offset the cost of gaming. So publishers are probably seeing that, we have these services now to kind of help people afford gaming better. And they're demanding that they don't want microtransactions. They don't want season passes, all this other stuff. So let's pull it. It's finally time to pull that stuff out of the games and start asking for more. But now that's where the double-edged sword. I kind of wish a little bit of over in other countries, the consumers have a little bit more protection than they do here in the States. Here in the States, whenever you buy something copyrighted, it is yours. That is it. You can't really return it. But in other countries, due to consumer protection, if there's bugs and glitches and stuff like that in the game, or the game is not as advertised, because sadly, Anthem was a great game, but I will not let bugs and glitches really take that game down. It's the fact that product was not as advertised. That game, if you go back and look at what was revealed in the 2017 E3 compared to what you got, there is a clear night and day difference on the quality of the product, how it functioned, and everything compared to what you got. So that game right there clearly was not as advertised. And over in some of the European markets, you were allowed to walk in and put that game on the counter and demand your money back, and they had to give you your money back. And I just think that maybe if they put rules like that in place here in the States, it would make a lot more publishers kind of be like, oh man, we can't let a game kind of go out, out of the gates with all these bugs and glitches because we're allowed to return it now. Because we all know the United States is one of the biggest consumers of electronic entertainment. So basically, they don't have to worry about the return policy here in the States as a result of that. You get where I'm going with.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So I just say if they're going to charge us more, I feel that there should be more of a strict like they shouldn't be allowed to release games with bugs and glitches and stuff like that, and that the games should come out as advertised. Like you can't use a lot of smoke and mirrors in advertising a game, and then all of a sudden, you get the game and it's like, well, wait a minute, this isn't what was advertised. It's like, oh, but it's copyrighted, it's yours now.
Well, there's a double-edged sword to that. So on the other side of that fence, as gamers and consumers, we continue to ask more out of these games and out of these studios. So it's so difficult to say, hey, your game, you better not drop that game when it's broken, but I want everything under the sun in the game.
Well, it almost is like right, everything in the sun. Oh, by the way, please throw in your left arm before you walk out the door. But I like how Xbox does their digital returns. Like basically, they know that how long you've played a game. We all go and look on our stats on how long we play games, and they at least give it to where you could buy a game and play it for less than an hour and return it. It's almost an incentive now to buy some of these games digitally because you have the ability to return it. At least on the Xbox side, I've heard you can't do it on the PlayStation side. I don't know, but
I can tell you there's a trick to that. Like, if you do it too many times, they will flag you. Yeah.
For both companies or just PlayStation?
At least for Xbox, they will. And there's another thing too. Like if this has happened. They fixed this. This is a glitch in their own system for a while. Like if you returned a game that you bought digitally, sometimes they would actually leave it in your account. And they would give you the money for it. Like if you pre-ordered, and you started playing, you couldn't do it with a pre-order. All right, so if you pre-ordered a game, you canceled it right before the game came out. It didn't work that way. But if you got it and the game launched and you played it a little bit and you said, hey, I don't like this game, it sucks, they'll refund you your money, right? But they will still leave in your account. And I did that with Battlefield. I did it with Madden. I've done it like a couple of times. And I was like, the third time I did, I was testing the theory to see if it worked, and it worked. And I still kept the game. But they fixed it so that you're not gonna be able to do that shit now. But for a while, you were able to do that for every game that came out with Microsoft.
Oh wow, that is that's a problem. So,
but no, I was just gonna cap off with saying that we're seeing a lot of good games though starting to come out below these costs. Maneater, Staggers, right? I was amazed when I found out Star Wars Squadrons was going to be $39.99. There is going to be a lot of games coming out that are not going to have that premium price. I just really do see those premium AAA titles really aiming for that top dollar price on a standard game.
Okay. All right. Well, let's throw this over to you, Fuzz. Get your opinion on where you're at on price, and then we'll move on to the last topic.
I agree. Yeah, this has been due for quite some time, but I also like to agree with Predator on the fact that with it being digital, there should be a price break of some sort. They don't have to go through the manufacturing or the production costs as far as for having it on disc or packaging, shipping, and whatnot. But that aside, the only real games that I have an issue with this price hike, and it's funny that one of those games is the one that's brave enough to try it, are these annualized sports titles. I'm sick of it to the point where I think I'll just buy them on PC from this point forward on anything that's going to be a sports title, for the fact that all the games seem to are just roster updates, which on PC you can go ahead and do that yourself. I mean, you can kind of mix and match the roster to some extent on console as well by doing, like a modded lineup or season or something along those lines. But how are these sports games going to say that, oh yeah, we need to charge you $10 extra? We're still going to have microtransactions, and then next year, by the way, we're only going to just do like some minor updates where you get all the new roster and now you'll be able to, instead of just jumping straight over a character, you'll be able to juke them or something like that. It's like, seriously, they need to just do, if you're going to do a $70 game, then every title, unless you do some sort of major overhaul of the game, every year after that, you need to do half the price for a roster update. Like roster updates annually need to be $20, $30, maybe $40 at max. Have it where it's like, okay, you pay $100 and you get all the legends. So anybody that's already in the Hall of Fame or something like that, you automatically have it. And then as they get added into that pack that you paid $100 for. But if you're going to have a, Madden 21, when Madden 22 comes out and then all it is a roster update, that price better not be some $70, but it will be. And that's
so like a season pass.
Exactly.
Circle back around to that, huh?
So that's the only ones I really have a problem with. Like the regular games, $70, fine. Now, does that mean the ultimate editions are now going to jump up to 120, 140?
That's true.
I've seen some ultimate editions already pushing 120, 130.
Yeah. So it's like, as long as the base game is 70 and they can kind of adjust the other prices so they're not ridiculous at that point, like 2K20 or NBA 2K21, if you get the full version or the ultimate edition or whatever, it's still the regular price for both the the current gen and the next gen. But I guess that's their way of nudging you into buying the ultimate edition. But but microtransactions, they get the I hate the fact that it's like, oh yeah, my kid wants to play NBA 2K21, and it's like, oh, he wants Nike sneakers like he has actually downstairs for them to wear to school, and it's like, oh yeah, that's like an extra $20 to get those. It's like, what? You pay $100 for the real thing. Why are you paying $20 to get it in the game? But I don't know. That's my only issue is the sports titles, and it would be a sports title that is the brave soul that goes ahead and tries it. So we'll see if others do it, but I'm not paying that for annual sports titles if they're just going to do roster updates from that point forward. Can
I add something to this topic real quick?
Sure.
I don't mind paying the extra $10, but one thing that I would love to see is that all these games, like especially the multiplats, that license carries over to other consoles.
Ooh, yeah.
Like I'd pay another fucking $15 for that, so I can log in and play on my Xbox, play on my PC, play on my PlayStation, and play all those games without having to buy the whole game all over again.
Ditto. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a dream, right? I don't know if we'll ever get that. I mean,
cross progression, cross play.
Yeah.
But no, I get you. That's a fan fucking. I'll fully support that idea. If you ever get a petition together, I'm signing that thing for sure. So, but either way, let's go ahead and keep it moving, man. I want to shout out everybody in here watching us live right now. We trucking through this thing. I wasn't feeling well today, but you guys always help me, feel a little bit better, bringing the energy. So let's keep it moving here. So this last one is a bit of a left field. I just kind of was thinking about this on my own the other day and essentially figured I'd ask the fellas about it. So we've been talking about Google, Amazon. They've been in the news. Obviously, you got Stadia, you got Amazon, looking to somehow get a foothold into the gaming industry, buying studios, whatever else they're thinking about doing. But realistically, how far away are Amazon and Google? Now, when you think about gaming and essentially consoles, it takes a very long time to get established in the console game. There's really only 3 console makers, and there's a reason for that. It's super expensive. You got to be able to, you got to somehow get enough people away from those consoles to get your brand, going. And that's tough at this point. Some people are locked in. They play on certain things, and that's all they play it. Nintendo, Xbox, Sony have been, 10, 20, 30 years building fan bases, perfecting consoles. So how far away really are Google and Amazon, Luke?
Are you asking me? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you good.
Sorry. Just want to make sure. They are as far away as they want to be. Google and Amazon have incredible infrastructure and money and cash to spend. If If, however, they go in with 1 foot in, 1 out, or they're just dipping their toe in, it's going to fail tremendously. And I offer Stadia as an example for that. I also offer.
Is it failing? I see
yes.
commercials all over the place.
Let me still.
Where?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Where?
Oh well.
So you have Stadia, and then Crucible as well. Crucible is the Amazon one that released, and then they're like, all right, there's nobody playing. Let's go back to beta. Right, and so if they do not invest fully and go all in on it, they will not be able to enter into the game space. Similarly, I think it's notable that Microsoft has lost this generation and still sold 50 million units. 50 million. The Wii U sold like 14. The Vita something like 15, and like the GameCube was somewhere around 20, I think. I mean, feel free to clean up my messaging there. But my point is, it takes a lot to hang with the big dogs in gaming. How many Switches are in the wild? PlayStation 4s are 110 million right now.
Switch is what, like 40, 50 already?
I believe Switch has surpassed 50. I think they're in second place of console sales. Yeah. So it takes a lot to permeate a market base. With cloud-based gaming, there's a bigger opportunity. But even then, Xbox, of all people, the third place creator, I don't know what you would call them at this point, but the third place, first party at this point, has developed xCloud, which is designed to bring their brand forward, taking Game Pass Ultimate with it into a consoleless future. Amazon and Google are prime, Amazon Prime, to get into that market. But if they don't want it, or they go in half-hearted, they're going to flounder and flail just like Stadia and Crucible did all over again. So that is my biggest issue with questioning them. I truly question how Sony's going to last into next gen. Nintendo's IP is strong enough. They can literally put out cardboard boxes and people are buying it. I do think, though, I will say Sony's IP is approaching that level. God of War and Horizon and Gran Turismo and now Ratchet and Clank, Spider-Man, they're in a class that they were never in before. So there's a lot to break down in that. But bottom line, cloud-based things, they're the way of the future, and Amazon and Google seem to have made serious misfires. That doesn't mean they can't reload and have another go.
So, quick question before I move on to Fred and get his opinion. Do you think it'd be better if these companies just switched their position and said, look, we're just going to make third-party games rather than actually try and create a platform or a system or anything? Like, we're just going to make games. We're not going to do
similar to like Sega did? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, similar to Sega. Just make Amazon buy a few studios and say, hey, look, we're just going to make games.
I mean, it is possible. We've already seen that start to happen. Oculus and Facebook have been doing that. Yeah. I do not see a future currently where Xbox or Sony or Nintendo go that route. I do see a place where Microsoft says Xbox is our brand, but we're still willing to publish Ori over on this platform. We're still willing to put things on PC, as they are doing, and very successfully, I might add. They're willing to play around and let Minecraft exist everywhere. Microsoft and all these companies, but Microsoft has demonstrated well that they're going to go where the money is. And going third party only has benefits, but it also has drawbacks. And right now, even losing the gem with 50 million, people know the brand Xbox. That is a powerful thing. Nobody knows the Amazon brand for game, not for gaming. No one knows the Oculus brand for gaming outside of niche culture and people that listen to this show. But I mean, like, Facebook gaming, that certainly with Mixer has taught us is like, oh, nobody really wants to go there. Okay, Stadia has really let its supporters down in the past few months because they touted this amazing technology that exists. That tech is pretty darn impressive. But then they said, but it's up to the developers, and they didn't help them out. Whereas Microsoft has dragged developers into next gen saying, hey, we're going to make your games back compat. Just tell us we can do it and we'll do it for you. Hey, we're going to put this on the cloud. It basically is a bunch of Xbox One S's on the server racks. We're switching them to Series X later on. You just tell us you want it on there and we'll do it. Like, there's a very different approach there. And I don't know how prepped they are for the future or if they care. They may not care. I think Amazon and Google especially, wanted Stadia so they could insert ads into gaming and have overlays for ads. And I think it didn't quite go the way they wanted.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and throw this over to Predator. Just see where you're at, man. And we've been talking about these two companies probably for the last couple of years with them trying to make a foray into the console space. So where are you at, man? How far really are they away, Predator?
Very far. So when Google came out and they were talking about the Stadia, my biggest concern was I have this theory where there's only room for 3, right? 2 max. Oh, I'm sorry. 2 is good.
Minimum.
3 max. Once you go above 3, it becomes a fucking problem. You're trying to steal market share from somebody else. If you think about it, like, what's the third biggest selling cell phone out there or operating system for cell phones? You got Android, iOS, right?
Android, iOS.
What's next?
I don't know.
Exactly. So you have 3 consoles, but one of them, talking about Nintendo, isn't really a console; it's a handheld. So they came up with the gimmick. But when they tried to be a console, who were the 2 leading console sellers back then?
Xbox and Sony.
Xbox and Sony. There wasn't room for a third one, right? And this goes laptops. I mean, like you got I say Android. I mean, like you got 3. If you were to Surface, Apple, and Google, right? And one of them isn't like superior. Whoever's third isn't like they're not like close second. Like it's like they're like third, way back in the third. So like there's only room for 3 max. And once you start adding a 4th and a 5th, you got to have a gimmick there. And Google's gimmick was, streaming, right? Didn't really work out well. And not saying that it can't, because Microsoft is still trying to get in that space as well. But you see, they haven't launched yet. They haven't even talked about it. So, and not saying it's not going to happen. I'm just saying like it's there, but like that was Google's. That was their thing. Their fail was the fact they didn't have a physical console. I think that's one of their biggest problems. People want something they can plug in on TV and play with, and they can't do that with that console. They're using their own stuff that they have already at the house. There's a controller there, et cetera, et cetera. But I think people in their mindset, old school gamers, they want a console they can hook up. And that's where I think Stadia failed. We haven't heard anything about, was it Amazon and their stuff, but I'm assuming they're doing streaming as well. We haven't heard much about that yet, and I'm sure that's coming out. There's some other companies who are like EA's going into streaming. Like the streaming thing, I don't think we're there yet. So when it comes to actual like getting a 4th person or 5th person, until they come out with a physical console, it's not going to happen. They have to have something physical, whether it's a handheld or something. And that's something I think that Google and or Amazon, that's the space I think they would actually excel in if they went that route, because there's really nobody else in the handheld space except for Nintendo.
Yeah.
Trying to tackle the console market when you have PC gamers, you have console gamers, 2 systems and a half, you're going to count Nintendo, and they're trying to get into that market. They're never going to break into that. All those companies have studios, they have history, they have games. Yeah, they have all of that. And you're asking a startup company to create all of that within a, let's say Stadia lasts 4 years. They got to build all that within 4 years.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's a tough position to put somebody in. So I don't think that's ever going to happen unless one of these companies buys out somebody else. Or they spend a shitload of money to create not only a physical console or handheld in this case, and they have studios to back them to make exclusive games. Because no matter what anybody says out there, exclusives sell consoles to some degree. So unless they do that, it's not gonna happen. And the games they've come out with, I'll use Stadia. Like, what they have, like what 3 or 4 exclusives now? Like, what are they?
I don't even know, to be honest with you.
So, I can't really take them seriously at this point because I don't want to. I'm out to spend. What's the Series X gonna cost? What's the PlayStation cost? What's the PC gonna cost? What's the Switch cost? Right? If you're a huge gamer, like some of us on this panel are, you have at least 2 consoles in your house. You're asking me about a 3rd one?
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah. So like, I don't think anybody out there is going to take them seriously until they come up with a like a Halo.
No, you're right.
And that's what Microsoft did. They came out with Halo, and it sold like crazy when it first came out, and Halo 2 sold even better. So unless one of these companies come out like that, then it's not going to happen. So I think for them, their first instinct is to just come out third party and create games. And then once they create games that people like, then you make those games exclusive to your console. They're doing it backwards. They're trying to come up with the console first, or the infrastructure first, with no games. And that's right.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, that breakdown, I mean, it's a lot it's an uphill battle. It's definitely an uphill battle. A lot of capital, a lot of money. Now, they do have the finances, but the time, the will, the want to actually push that far into the gaming space, that's a big decision. So let's go ahead and keep it moving. Let's get to you, Centurion. Then we'll get to Fuzz, and then we'll wrap this thing up, man. So where you at, Centurion? How far away are Google and Amazon, brother?
Oh, man, they are very far away. I can't disagree with anything that Insipid or Predator haven't already said. I mean, I don't have enough time to even play my PlayStation. I live on my Xbox. I don't have enough time to play on my PlayStation. My Nintendo Switch doesn't get used as much as it should. I wouldn't have no time to actually get another console if like Amazon or Google tried to do something like that. I was shocked when I found out about Crucible, a game that was released and went back into beta. Definitely, they weren't ready for it. And that's where, like, I have to agree. So many people have always said that the gaming industry is a very fickle market, and the consumer speaks very quickly. And we all saw very quickly how Google Stadia tried to release, and then they went hush-hush very quickly because the consumers, they didn't want it. Like I only know a handful of people who even invested in the Stadia. Do you know anybody who did?
Well, I know some people tried it. They were doing some type of like trial where you sign up and you get, a certain amount of time to play it. I remember K Mega talking about it, a couple other people, but I mean, after that, I hadn't heard anything about it.
Masked Mayhem, the guy who actually, owns BG4G Hub, he actually got the Google Stadia like founders kit because he wanted to do a review on it, and even he said he's made jokes saying that it's interesting that Google has completely fallen on their face with this product, and that there's just so little interest in it.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, it's a tough uphill battle for Amazon and Google, so we'll see as time goes by how it plays out. So last but not least, Fuzz, we're going to get this over to you. Once you're done, we're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. Once again, quick shout out to everybody in the comment section, in the chat. Appreciate you guys continuing to support the show. Shout out to Stag. You going ham in that chat today, brother.
I know. Is he drinking?
Stag is going crazy. Shout out to my brother. He must be feeling a little bit better, man. He is having a ball in that chat. But either way, I hope to see you soon, brother, on this side of the fence again. But let's go ahead and get this over to you, Fuzz. Get your opinion, and we're going to wrap this thing up, brother.
All right. I don't know how much longer Google's going to stay in it, because we've joked about it before, Google Plus and Hangouts and just all the other things that they, randomly shut down after they don't make tons of money in ads or something. So we'll see how long they last in it. But if I'm not mistaken, a good friend of Xbox, Bethesda, I think is working with them on some exclusives. So
they are, yeah.
Bethesda's already kind of run themselves into the mud with 76, although Wastelanders is kind of, not Wastelanders, but what do you call them? Wasteland has kind of helped them a little bit, but we'll see. Amazon, on the other hand, I was kind of holding hope for them, but Crucible came out and just underwhelmed a lot of people. And I think they got New World is coming out here soon. It's still kind of in beta. It has some nice features to it, but
it looks like a great value art.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe Amazon needs to reevaluate, kind of like what you guys have been saying. Maybe they should go third party first and get us hooked on the games, and then that's when stepping their big toe into the market can take place. But I think they're only going to be in it if they can make significant money off of it. And right now, I don't think that they're either ready or took a serious approach. Like they need to purchase some studios. They need to purchase a lot of, well, not purchase talent, but purchase studios that have talent or can recruit talent. They need to recruit more hardware-based people that are going to help them deliver some of the features that they, or at least with Google with Stadia, deliver on some of the features that they promised that are still not quite up to par. But if they're around in this industry 2 years from now, I'll be amazed. But yeah, that's the big thing. They just got to hang in there and power through it with their wallet, I guess. But I doubt they'll do it.
All right. Well, that's.
Can I?
Go ahead. Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy. I wanted to wait until everybody spoke because there is one person one company that comes to mind that has been very stealthily flying under the radar, and they have just launched a new game studio here in the United States.
Who's that?
Tencent.
Oh,
Those are the guys that Microsoft and the big players that have been keeping the eye on. That's why, no offense to people who, whatever they want to think, Amazon and Google are never was compared to Tencent. And Tencent has been flying under the radar. They create entertainment. They create games. They create mobile games. They even have their hands in some movies. And they're doing it the way you just talked about. You create content that people crave and love. And eventually you come out with a platform where all that content goes to exclusively.
Don't they own Epic as well?
I don't know about that, but I know that they're actually serious. I don't know if they fully own Epic, but I've heard they have a good portion of shares when it comes to stock in that company.
Oh yeah, they're making money hand over fist over there. But okay,
like number one as publishers, aren't they? Tencent.
Yeah, they're a very serious publisher, and that's why it's kind of funny. Everybody's kind of always revolving around. And I'm not saying this about you, PTK. I'm talking about the internet and the Twitter streets. I'm talking like it's always Amazon and Google, and somehow like this dude Tencent is in the background making a lot of money in gaming, and no one is noticing.
Yeah, no one talks to them because they're from China.
Yeah, they're from China. So yeah, it's a precarious thing right now. But we will definitely keep our eye on them. They are a serious player. So that is going to wrap up the show for this week, man. Once again, it was a phenomenal show. Big shout out to my two special guests, Insipid, Fred. Appreciate you guys so much, and I will let everybody, get a turn to speak. But once again, quick shout out to everybody who came out and watched the show live. What's up, Invader, man? I know you're a bit late, but appreciate it, man. The link will be on Twitter later on, so go ahead and rewatch the show. But thank you guys. Every week you guys show up, show out. Appreciate the consistency of you guys as well. So I hope you guys are enjoying the show. Once again, let me know, any way I can improve the show from a content standpoint or visual standpoint, anything like that. I'm open to constructive criticism. So let's go ahead and start with you, Luke. Let everybody know what's going on with you, brother. What's going on with XEP and just what you got lined up, brother.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So right now you can follow me on Twitter at Insipid Ghost, and that'll link out to any and all of my content. I do host a show called the Xbox Expansion Pass, where I offer thoughtful feedback on what's going on in the gaming industry as it pertains to the Xbox ecosystem. I often have on developers and voice actors and industry insiders to discuss, their role in the industry. Coming up on an episode, if not this week, then the week after, are Sabotage Studios, the creators of The Messenger, which just hit Game Pass for consoles, which is a great game that if you've not checked that out. And then I have one or two that I'm teasing for the future that I'm very excited for. And I just started my Twitch career. Now that Mixer is gone.
I saw that, bro. Congrats, man.
Thank you. Yeah, just hit affiliate, which is kind of neat. And so would mean the world if you guys could either check out XEP or go follow me on Twitch, and just in general, tell me you found out about or you heard about me here on the shop. That means the world as well. So thanks, guys.
Appreciate you, man. Listen, this guy, there's, like I said, there's a handful of people I listen to every week. He's one of them. I listen to maybe 5 people, podcasts essentially. He's one of the ones I listen to consistently. So do yourself a favor. Go subscribe. All of that information is below. The links to his channel, to his Twitter, to his XEP. Everything is down in the description. Once again, Luke, you're one of my favorites, bro. You're an even better person than a host, essentially. But thank you for coming on, man. And this won't be the last time. Obviously, you'll be on the show, but man, appreciate you, brother. So you, no problem, man. Let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Pred, man. My brother from another. Me and Pred go back and forth. It's like a big brother to me. Appreciate him. He's always supported the show, no matter how long he's took a hiatus from being on the show. He's always answered me in the DMs and been a big help to me. So give yourself a shout out, prayer. Let everybody know what's going on with you, brother.
Oh man, big brother, that's you, man. You got me started when I started doing next podcast, we usually go on Saturdays right around the same time this show starts, unfortunately. But tomorrow we will be doing a Sunday show, so make sure you guys tune in. I don't know the time yet, but make sure you guys follow me on Twitter, and I'll make sure I tweet that link out when it happens. And always a pleasure to be on the shop. Thanks for the panel members for having me on today, and I hope to get back on here as soon as I possibly can.
Awesome. Well, you know what? The door is always open for you. You got a pass, one of those all access passes to the shop podcast. So you always can hit me up, man. So I appreciate you taking some time out, especially on the holiday. You and Luke spent a little bit over an hour. We ran over the quota, but I appreciate it because it was such a good conversation. So I don't ever mind, man. So appreciate you too, brother. Appreciate you guys both. So my two compadres here, Centurion, let everybody know what's going on with you. I know you with the schedules, hopefully winding down a little bit, you'll be able to get some more content out.
Oh, yes, sir. Especially after this week, because it'll all calm down, and then I'll finally get my schedule back to normal. Care if I shout out Stagger real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Well, since he's not here, anybody who can, please follow Stagger, who is currently in the chat. He is currently in the chat, rejecting our reality, substituting his own. Have you watched this? Yeah, I'm even stuttering trying to do it because he's making me laugh every time. But anyways, be sure to follow me too, please, on YouTube, Twitter, and also Xbox Live at Centurion1307. I feel I have a rather great channel, but you guys have been awesome, and it has been it's PTK. Thank you for letting me be part of this podcast, man. That's all I can say.
Oh,
and
not a problem, brother.
To kind of connect with Predator. I've always listened to him on other podcasts, so it's great to finally be able to have a podcast with you. Like, being on the Shop podcast has been an awesome experience, man, and I'm so glad to be part of it.
Awesome. Well, we greatly appreciate and value here, man. You guys are amazing. You guys speak for yourself, so make me look good. And last but not least, the smooth operator, Mr. Barry Ross, the velvet voice of video games. I just made it up right now. I swear to God. So, anyway, go ahead, Fuzz. What'd you say?
My damn drink out when you said that.
It just came off the top of my head. So don't nobody. I need a copyright that if I see it. But anyway, go ahead, Fuzz. Let everybody know what's going on with you, brother.
So glad to be here. Glad we had our guest with us today and Stag in the chat. Awesome time as always. You can always find me on Twitter at Fuzzy_Belvedere, on PSN at Fuzzy_Belvedere, or on Xbox Live, Fuzzy Space Belvedere, more than likely playing a racing game of some sort. Awesome show as always. Thank you guys. Happy 4th and enjoy your weekend for everyone else outside the US.
Awesome. And last but not least, your boy PTK Blam across the board. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Xbox Live as well. Following on Twitter allows you to know what's going on with the show. Guests are going to be on, poll of the week, things like that. And I appreciate you guys. I say it every week, but I really, really do. I wasn't feeling good today, and you guys gave me so much life and energy. I appreciate everybody here on the panel. But we're going to wrap this thing up. Same place, same time next week. Appreciate you guys. Enjoy your weekend. Happy 4th. Be safe. Wash your hands. Cover your face. Do all the stuff you're supposed to do, people. But we're out of here. Love. Peace. We're out.
Later.